Hello and welcome to another episode of Oh So Curious Times DCU Daily. We are back with a lot of news. We have got a movie review. We're looking ahead to a couple of movies coming out this week. Of course, we have to talk about the big news that is we've got the villain for our new Supergirl movie. So we're going to get into that and so much more, of course. Sorry for the delay a little bit getting the show started today. I was having some audio problems. I've tried like 5 different headphones. My computer does not want to cooperate, but that's okay because we're just going to roll with the punches today because that's the kind of day it is. And so, with that said, let's get the show started. All right. Hey, John. How are you doing
Howdy.
today?
I'm doing fan-fucking-tastic. I'm ready to go and all that shit. Yeah. That was awkward as hell. I apologize. Anyway.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah, we don't have Angelina on today because she wasn't able to make it. I mean, although we told her we're going to do show much earlier, I feel like she might be like, if you guys were going to do it this late, you might as well could have had me. That aside, that's some inside baseball there. I think
Anyway.
let's, as we like to do, yeah, as we always like to do, we're gonna start the show off with the news. So, let's get that started.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always the number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
Robert
You're
Downey.
kidding. I can't open the envelope without this.
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right, time for the news, guys. We've already got comments from you guys flowing in. I mean, let's get into that a little bit. Fiona's like, John is hyped. I don't know if that was sarcasm or not. Thank you, Josh. Hello, Steely Dan. I wouldn't have described myself as Steely Dan, but I'll take it.
Yeah, you're
I will
not that
take it.
musically talented. But you know what?
Yeah,
You're
I'll
talented
take
in other things.
Fiona's like, the news. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna talk about the news. I mean, the news is where it's at today anyway. You know, that's really, I mean, but then
Yeah.
again, that's really where it's at all the time. Otherwise, we wouldn't exist as a channel, as it were. John, watch out! Look behind you. It's Tom King.
I need to get my machete. Where is it?
Shit. Oh, imagine if you do pull out a machete right now. Oh wait, I think he's gonna pull out a machete, guys.
There we go. Tom
Oh,
King, I'm
machete.
fucking coming for you.
Oh, the machete is coming for Tom King. Okay. Yeah. Do you remember when
Yeah.
that was a thing?
I found this like
Yeah.
in my like grandparents' house, and I'm like, Ma, can I have this? She's like, yeah, sure, why not? I'm like, all right, cool, bet, let's go. I need to clean it a little bit. I think
Yeah.
it was my uncle's. I don't know. Maybe it's illegal that I have this. Hopefully not. And I'm not incriminating myself. But you know,
This is a great day for show and tell. I can use a laugh.
yeah,
Fiona's like John with the props. And
yeah.
Josh
I
is
have.
like Tom King's probably
I need to
behind
sharpen
the
this, and I need
cover.
to fucking get all the rust off. I need to get rust removed.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. You know, I do have access to a claymore, and I will try to make use of that as a prop sometime.
Yeah, if we're
Um,
if we're like reviewing like a
yeah.
World War II or one or depending whatever
Yeah.
war it's from,
Yeah.
that would be cool. Like if we're
Or you know,
doing
whenever
series.
whenever they reboot Braveheart, I'm gonna like try to get a hold of that claymore. I'm gonna like buy a kilt and just
just
paint
like
my
full
face.
face paint, like get like
Yeah.
hair extensions and just go
Yeah,
full.
exactly, totally. That's. I mean, maybe that's what we should do for Halloween. Maybe that will be my Halloween costume. You know.
I'm just gonna be
Yeah.
a bald fat loser in my basement because that's an easy costume to be.
I mean, you gotta find a basement first, then you can worry about the rest. Um, Although most people will believe where you're at is a basement. The legend has it that you live in a basement, but
I
if I
can't.
mean,
Yeah, I have my curtain right here, but yeah,
no, you've proven it. You've proven it
I have
otherwise.
proven that I'm
I
not
can
in a
control
basement.
the glasses. That's what I'd like to do. That's my easy go-to Halloween. Speaking of Halloween, though, let's get the news started. John,
Yes,
have you been to a movie theater of late?
yes.
Do you enjoy your experience in a movie theater of late?
I would like to think so.
Do you like to recline in a chair, or do you like those IMAX style, like stadium style seating?
The last movie I saw, which was the one we're reviewing today, I didn't I was gonna mention this during the review, but I might as well mention it now. I actually didn't realize. So my AMC has like a IMAX X-esque theater. It's Dolby.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a big Dolby theater,
Yeah.
and which is essentially like IMAX. But like I didn't realize. I'm like, oh well, guess I'm seeing the IMAX version because like the other time was like an hour away. So I'm like, I'm not waiting that long. So I saw the IMAX version, even though Transformers 1 wasn't worth it, but that's beside the point. But I'm like, you know what? I get to have a goddamn heat warmer. Those seats, I will say, like the normal reclining seats are good, but the Dolby seats, those are fucking mint. You know, those are like I could like legit. It is more comfortable than my bed. Like I could sleep
I
in one
agree
of
with
those
you.
things.
Yeah.
I would no joke if somebody took me to see like a bad movie I didn't care about. I would just be just full on the entire time. Like, all right, I'm getting a 2-hour power nap in this shit. You know, let's.
It is really it's really good. It's and you know, as you can probably see from my background, like see like right there, there's one of two seats. I've got a home theater seating here, and then
Yeah.
you guys can't tell, but there's a big ass TV on the wall there. So I used to this is the thing, back in college I used to work at a Best Buy. And so basically you get like mad discounts. And so I was able to afford things I otherwise wouldn't be able to spend as much money on, such as a home theater audio system and a bigger TV. And I recently bought myself some home theater seating so that I could kind of complement the whole experience. Turn off the lights, all these. I have like 5 lights in front of me that I would turn off and enjoy a true home theater experience. Like lean back, those are recliner chairs. And like there's a button on the side, you press it, your feet go up, and you could just kind of lean back with your head. You can actually prop your head up. There's another, so the headrest moves as well. So it's really cool. But it's obviously I'm fortunate that I can afford that. But for everybody else who are not able to do this for themselves at home, or I mean even for me, I'm like, I don't want to watch every movie at home. I want to go to a movie theater. I want to have that collective experience with all the people around me, because that's what the movie theater experience is about. You want to be in a movie theater when Captain Rogers finally says Avengers, and then under his breath, assemble. And then Thor goes like, and then
how do they know to go if he like whispers under his breath? Anyway,
it's Thor. That's the thing. It's such an underrated moment in that scene is Thor's scream. It's not Captain America saying assemble that gets everybody in a tizzy. It's Thor being like, and then like everybody goes rushing. That's the moment. And because the assemble is for the people watching. But anyway, Fiona's like, I don't want a part-time AMC worker managing the zip lines. Wait, what are we talking about? Zip lines? AMC situation.
See, no, it says right there, pickleball, zip lines, and bowling alleys. So anyway, let's get into the actual story here.
Okay.
Because I'm interested in this.
Yes.
I saw when you posted this, I was like, okay, let's go. But take it away.
Yep. All right. Well, okay, John. So recently there was news out there that bunch of theaters, including AMC and Regal. AMC and Regal are two of the biggest ones. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you. That I don't know, what is Chud Life, by the way, Man of Steel.
I know Chud, the movie Chud, like Chud and Chud 2, Bud the Chud. Those are like horror comedies from like the 80s, but like I don't know what I don't know. Anyway.
Well, but and Hunter, we will get to your question. Yeah, we will get to that question. I think, well, if you were in general, Superman comes out first, so watch it first and then Supergirl. But as far as
Anime.
the story guys, AMC and Regal, I'm sure if you have a movie theater near you, there's got to be at least one AMC in nearby or Regal, unless you live in the middle of nowhere, which is totally fine. But if you drive to a movie theater, even if it is an hour or 2 hours away from you, chances are you have gone to an AMC or a Regal some point in your life.
Yep.
And there's also Cinemark. There's a bunch of other big, Odeon and stuff, which ultimately in the whole wide world there's like three big movie theater chains that own pretty much every theater around you outside
Mhm.
of maybe there's a few mom and pop ones. Sony recently bought the Alamo Draft House, so which they give you like a very specific kind of experience. You can have food, they'll tell you to shut up if you're talking during a movie. There's all kinds of movie theaters out there. We all have our favorites. But the big thing that a lot of people, have been complaining about in recent years, and rightfully so, is that the movie theater experience is getting more expensive. It's getting harder to enjoy your time at the theater. It's becoming less affordable. And movie theaters are also places where we spend, if you go to a theater to watch a movie, you're going to spend a good chunk of your day, like 3-4 hours, depending on how long the movie is, how early you showed up to watch the trailers. And then, you might hang out and talk to your friends or family about the movie before you walk out, of the theater. So it's important that theaters try to make it a better experience. We all have had, I mean, I'm sure you might have a story of you used to go to a movie theater and then they upgraded their seating. I know the theater in my town is not one of the big chains, and it kept getting bought and sold for years, and then eventually they ended up being bought by one of the bigger chains, and then they did a whole upgrade, and all of a sudden we got brand new recliners. They were cleaner, the seats were wider, they totally
Yeah,
reclined
finally,
back. And
finally, I got seats to fit my fat ass. It was
so
beautiful.
yeah, and so the story here is basically theaters are spending over $2.2 billion. This is not just AMC or Regal; it's all pretty much all the big chains combined. They've
Mhm.
all sort of made this commitment to upgrade not only the seating, but also the projection, like the quality of the picture, the sound, the dining experiences. So you're getting more food options, you're getting better food options. Hopefully, when you pay for them to bring the food to your seats, they actually do that, because I've had theaters near me where you can click that
Yeah,
option and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, it's here," and I'm like, "But wait, I checked the box." Like
yeah,
it's
they
still,
used
but
to do that at
yeah,
so I had, well, initially, okay, so here's what happened. I used to have two theaters actually right next to each other. So I had two theaters, they were both showcase cinemas. It was
yeah,
one that was connected to like a Costco like place, and then literally it was like the movie theater was here, there was the town line, and then there was another movie theater right next to it in like the town technically over, but it was like just like a few feet away.
mhm,
So I had those theaters for a long time. So the theater over the town line, the town that I'm not in, that closed before COVID actually. It was just, it got bought out. Now it's like a condos or something. And
yeah,
then a few months later, like during lockdown, that the one in my town closed down. So I had theaters, and then we had bow tie theaters, which were like, I don't know, like 15-20 minutes away. They weren't like anything, like it was, those were like kind of like for like a birthday or something, like because they were like the seats were nicer, it was like an overall nicer like theater, but it was like a little bit of ways away, it was a little slightly less convenient, so we would go there. Now what, I have to go there because that's the closest theater.
yeah.
And then Bowtie got bought out by AMC, so
We
I've
did,
had
yeah,
AMC for the last couple of years. So Bowtie, I guess, I don't know. I don't think they're their own thing anymore. I think they all totally got out by AMC. And but yeah, that but initially I remember there was not the one I usually, so I have like a big kind of, I don't know, like a, not a like a multiplex, but like that, kind of like that. So that's the
yeah,
one I go to normally. And then there's one that's
yeah,
like half a mile farther in another town that I don't go to as much.
right.
That's like a way smaller theater. It has like 6 screens, I think. That theater, I don't think the bigger one did, but that theater that my dad liked, that theater for a while, you can get food and drinks, and you'd be like, okay, can I get it to my seat? But then ever since COVID, it like they stopped doing that. I don't think they do that anymore. They used to have like a nice like bar area, and that's like totally like gone now. And now it's just like a big like empty space. But I mean the theater's still open, but you can't like go up to them like, hey, can I get to? If they're like, no, we can't. I mean I haven't tried, but that used to be like a if at least for the few times that we went there before COVID. Um, looks like he is having technical difficulties. Uh, we're going into but yeah, that was essentially what my theater was, and we used to like a couple times we would get food and we get delivered. It was like so nice, but now we don't. Now that can't happen. Although I have not tried it. Maybe I'll ask next time. But that was essentially. But yes, Anna Steel Magnolias. It's 25 to 30 minutes of previous. Nowadays, like I would leave like so the theater is like 15-20 minutes depending on how fast I go. And I would used to go like half an hour before. I'd like to, see a couple previews and then, see it and give myself time. I always like to give myself time. So he's back. Yay. Anyway, I always like to give
I
myself time right before a movie. And but now since there's so many previews, as Man of Steel Magnolias is saying, it's just like I leave like the time for my movie could start at like 1 and I'd leave the
yeah.
house at like 12:45,
I mean,
12:50 because it's just like, oh, I know I have 30 minutes of extra time because I like previews. Previews are fun, but 30 minutes is a lot. Then you have like the break dancing fucking like guy going through all the different types of movies with his girlfriend preview. Then you have Nicole Kidman telling you that movies are magic. And then another thing of like silence your phones. And then the movie, it's like, guys, this is like 40 minutes. I just want to sit and watch my
you want to
goddamn
just watch the movie. I mean, but also like it's a good point here. Let me put that comment back up. By the way, sorry guys, my audio kind of dropped out, and then StreamYard froze up, the software that we use for the show. But Man of Steel Magnolia makes a good point. They're putting out more and more trailers in these movies, right? 25 minutes
way more
worth, like 30 minutes. You might even the most I've sat through in the past year is like 35 minutes, and I was like bamboozled and just confused at bamboozled. A good word, by the way. I like the word bamboo. I'm gonna use that more. I was just bamboozled by the sheer volume of trailers that they were throwing at our faces. But anyway, do you think adding pickleball, zip lines, and bowling alleys is gonna help with that? Like, what's the point? Like, where's the like? It's because it's one thing if you go to a basketball, like for example, there's baseball stadiums in Major League Baseball, and there's NBA arenas in the NBA, where you can go and sit at a bar, or you can, play, whether in a practice court, get some get some reps in if you want to play some basketball of your own, or literally sit in a hot tub or a pool watching a baseball game.
Yeah.
But what's the utility of having a pickleball and zip lines and bowling alleys in a movie theater? Is that so that you can
it's just
enjoy
like
the
a way, it's just like extra revenue. Because remember, I mean, you
Yeah.
know this and I know this, and for anybody else who doesn't know this, theaters get shit from the movies that they're hawking. That like 95% of the ticket revenue goes to the movie, the studio, the producer, like that that's why the fucking popcorn and snacks are all like it's like $10 for a small, because all of that is going to the theater because
No, but
they're
I get that, but I'm just saying, like,
no,
while
I
that
know, I
makes
know. I'm
sense.
saying like
Yeah.
I think this is just like, okay, we're gonna do the thing, spend money to make money, because then they're gonna put bowling alleys, and you got to pay for a bowling alley or pay for a zip line, and that would be extra revenue to like keep the theaters alive. I know this may be stupid. I know it's like it's ridiculous, and it is a little bit ridiculous. But like my bowling alley, a couple towns away from me, has like an arcade, has like all this shit, and it's just like a way for people to like, okay, if you don't like this, you can have this. And I feel like what they're trying to do is like make movie theaters like almost like an even bigger experience, because it's like
Yeah.
They clearly don't want the cinema experience to die because look, it's
Well, I mean,
streaming
they're
is
certainly
winning
doing a
out.
lot to
People are
dude,
lazy, and the fact gas is a
it's
shit ton of money now.
yeah.
And ignoring the tickets, like gas, people don't have a ton of time because people are working like millennials and Gen Z are working like 3 jobs to just pay rent. So they don't even
Yeah.
have the time. They don't have the energy. They don't have the gas. Like they don't have anything like to do this. So it's like it's maybe hoping that like people at least who can afford it, maybe like big families can like come in, spend a lot of money and give the theater experience a shot. But like it's saddening and like this is like kind of like a Hail Mary in terms of like just getting butts back into the seats again.
I mean,
And
but you know what? At a
it may seem
time
ridiculous, but like
yeah,
I have the benefit of the doubt here because it's
yeah.
like if it's anything to keep cinemas and theaters alive, then sure, it's weird to me. But like if that's your way of trying to keep the shit going, then like you do you. Like,
Right.
do it. Fuck it. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, at a time when AMC is introducing, you know, tiered pricing, or what do they call it? They called it like something like it's variable ticket pricing based on where you sit in the theater, based on how popular
Yeah.
a movie is. You'll pay a different price for the ticket. I'm like, you gotta like seriously, like get your priorities straight. Like that part matters more to people than adding zip
Easier
lines and
said than
pickleball.
done.
You know,
It's inflation.
it
Like you can't just lower the ticket. Like look, you can't like have a
yeah.
fucking ticket that's like $5 anymore. You just can't do that. That's just
Well,
not
I get
realistic, I don't
that.
think.
I do. I get that. But like there's two
I'm
things.
more so talking to Antonio, but yeah, it just
Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
there's two things that I wanted to address. One, you can't ruin your core product and then give people perks on top and still expect them to be like, "Oh yeah, you know what? It's fine if you charge me $100 for this experience. At least I'm getting to play pickleball." People are at a movie theater to watch a movie first and foremost, and I get the idea that they want to turn movie theaters into more of an overall experience, but you're not going to make up for a bad movie watching experience by putting a bowling alley in a movie theater. But I see what you mean. Like, but here's the other thing too. If you're gonna, you can't do this at every theater. There's a lot of theaters out there where like there's an AMC in a town of like 10,000 people. You're not gonna like increase their excitement by saying, oh, we got a bowling alley in here, but you still have to watch half an hour of trailers. Plus, if you're gonna give them half an hour of trailers, I mean, people can just like go to the bowling alley instead. And it's sort of, I don't get the logic behind it, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
how are these things in bettering your movie going experience? I think the
Yeah.
simplest thing they can do is have a consistent pricing like they used to do. Have upgrading the seats and the projection and the sound should be
I
the
think that's a
priority.
good idea. Yeah.
That's the good thing. Having a better dining experience is a good thing. I think like the biggest thing that annoys me the most is when I go to a movie theater and unless it's like a Dolby screen or unless it's an IMAX screen, the screen is half the brightness that it should be because they're trying to save the bulbs on the projectors so they can make them last longer. No, I much rather you give me a premium experience because I'm fucking paying for the experience. Like if I
Yeah.
might be paying $15 for the ticket and getting a screen where I can't see half the stuff because most of the movie takes place at night and I'm just squinting my eyes trying to get any detail out of the picture
Yeah.
because of how dim the projector is. And like the sound might be busted because like one of the speaker channels isn't working. Like at home we get like 2 channels of audio left and right, or if you have a home theater system you might get 5 channels, 5.1 with a bass, 7.1. Blu-rays come with 7.2, so 2 bass channels and 1 left, 1 right channel, a center channel, 2 channels in the back, and then 1 center channel in the
Goddamn.
back. It's that's or if you have Dolby Atmos, you get another 2 channels of audio shooting into your ceiling and then coming back down. You can get that experience at home, but in a movie theater, when you mix a movie, most people don't realize this, but a movie that is mixed for the movie theaters is mixed with a different audio mix than what you get and more audio channels than what you get even on a Blu-ray. On Blu-ray, you get like 7.2. In a movie theater, I believe the number is closer to like 16.3. Like there's actually 16 different channels of audio all around you, which is why it's such an immersive experience. But it becomes a lot less immersive, and a bunch of sound is not working because like the speakers are busted, or this projector is half as bright as it should be. So if you're watching a nighttime scene like in a Harry Potter movie, or I don't know, in like an Avengers movie, you can barely see anything because everything is dark. You can't tell anything apart. It's like watching Game of Thrones on a old ass TV where you got no contrast.
It's watching
right?
Game of Thrones season 8.
Exactly.
Did
like,
did they leave the lens cap on?
Yeah, it's like that's the part where they can definitely improve. And yeah, I think inflation does mean you can't do $5 tickets. Maybe you do that once a week. Maybe it's a special thing.
Yeah, you have like senior
But
discounts. You
yeah,
have like matinees. You have like
yeah,
discount Wednesdays, or you have AMC Stubs A
exactly.
List, or Regal Unlimited, or
Yeah.
Cinemark, whatever the fuck they have, Cinemark Plus, whatever the fuck.
It's
So
those things help, but ultimately, I think all these upgrades that we're talking about, the solution to movie theater experiences being better than what they are today is not adding pickleball and bowling alleys and zip lines. It's just improving the core experience, which is the movie watching experience. Fewer trailers, more affordable ticketing. I'm not saying bring it back to $5. I mean, you can't even get a Subway footlong for $5 anymore. I don't expect to pay $5 for my movie ticket, even at 12 p.m. in the afternoon on a Sunday. But or even a Tuesday, better example. But more affordable tickets, and certainly tickets where it's predictable. You shouldn't have to pay $20 for a movie on a Wednesday, but that same movie costs you $30 on a Saturday. Like it should be a little more consistent than that, especially if you're going to the same exact theater, the same exact screen, and the same exact seat. Right.
Right.
Pre-assigned seating was a huge addition when it first started to be offered. I feel like now the next thing is you got to make sure you have proper recliners. You got to make sure your projection is good. You're getting a picture that is bright enough for us to see what's on screen, and your sound should be good too. You have no idea how many times I've been in a movie theater where I'm like, the sound here sucks. What's going on? And they're like, there's a speaker that's busted, and it just completely takes you out of the picture, because sound is more than half the picture. Literally, most of what we experience in movies actually comes from the sound and not the visuals. Like the visuals could be terrible, but if the sound is terrible, that's when you really start to notice things are wrong.
Yeah,
But anyway,
that actually reminds you, just a quick little aside.
yeah.
I was getting new headphones
Hmm.
because I noticed my old ones were just like rickety and not very good, and I got this like, kind of like decent pair. They were like pretty expensive, not for headphones, but like reasonably expensive. But like I got them, and it was like, so like, I'm not an audiophile. I'm not a like, oh, I gotta have the most. I had like $20 headphones for like 5 years, and so like I'm cool with that. But I noticed that like it was like flat. It was like didn't sound good. Like it sounded like compressed and crushed,
Hmm.
and and all that shit. But then I got these, and then I'm like, wow, yeah, I could definitely feel the difference. These
Yeah.
are Anchor sound cores, I think. Very good. They're about $100, so a little expensive, but not super. They're not like like the $1,200 fucking headphones that'll like fucking suck your dick while you fucking watch a YouTube video or something like that. But they're pretty damn good. So just
Yeah.
like a side note, but like yeah, you could sound like, I'm just saying, like I agree. Like even as a guy who's not paying attention to sound, if I like notice something weird about it, like yeah, like that's weird, but interesting, but like weird. So
Yeah.
yeah, you will
Yeah.
notice it. Like
I
even the
agree.
normal go,
Yeah.
oh, that's weird, but you'll
No,
notice it.
exactly, and I think that's really those are the elements they need to fix first before they start putting bowling alleys in our movie theaters, because that's not what people are looking for as a solution to tickets that are too expensive, or picture that doesn't look good enough, or you're sitting in dirty seats that have like soda strewn all over them and popcorn. Like that's the area. Like invest in your employees, pay them better, give them benefits, give
Good
them a
joke.
reason to do their jobs really well. Like just treat them well, and those are all the things they should do before anything else. Speaking of a movie theater experience, Wuthering Heights is a new film that is in development. John, you are more
Mhm,
familiar with this property than I am. Emerald Fennell's Wuthering
mhm.
Heights. We now know that Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi are set to star in this. This is the first time you're going to see the two of them as a pairing on screen. What are your thoughts on the casting, and what are your thoughts on this adaptation for film?
It's not great. Um, this is okay. So I don't know a ton about gothic romance. I know a little bit. So, but the thing is, I was scrolling through. I think like just I forget what I probably through like Facebook or something, and I saw this. Now I know a little bit about Wuthering Heights. Like I know like a bit of the story. Like I've seen bits and pieces of the Sir Laurence Olivier film, And I was like, I saw this and I'm like, none of this headline sounds right. Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi, and Emerald Fennell, who, by the way, wrote and directed Promising Young Woman and Saltburn. And she's going to be, I think she was also like a co-writer on like the upcoming Ballerina John Wick movie. So I'm like, none of this sounds right. So I went to my sister. She's a huge gothic romance fan. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to, dox her, but I was like, hey, sis, thoughts. And she fucking went the fuck off. Like literally, I was like, I like texted her right before we did the show, like yesterday. And so I texted her and I was like, what are your thoughts? And then I just like, while we were like, I was trying to like pay attention to the show, I heard like caught like she like sent me like 12 messages, and she's like, yeah, this just like, she's like, I like the actors involved. I like Emerald Fennell, like I like all these people. They're all like really good on their own. But for like a gothic romance, like none of these people fit into the idea of what a gothic romance should be. And I kind of agree. Like Margot Robbie's a very weird choice. And Jacob Elordi is a whole can of worms, because apparently, I didn't realize this until we were talking, me and my sister were talking about it. But apparently, Heathcliff, who the character Jacob Elordi is playing, is apparently like the most like whitewashed character from literature to screen, apparently. Because we were talking about like, so the whole basis was like these two, I believe Heathcliff, and I forget the female's name, but the woman's name in the book and the films. But apparently Heathcliff was like, it's like this, tragic romance, like very like creepy gothic sort of vibes and all that gothic romance, And so the reason that like it was like a forbidden like love affair kind of thing, like she was set to marry somebody, but she fell in love with Heathcliff. Now the reason that like it was like really like awkward was, or like why it like didn't work, is because in the book he's described as a dark-skinned man and who faced a lot of racial prejudice. Now I'm looking at Jacob Elordi, and this man has the jawline that can cut glass and like the whitest fucking skin possible.
Yeah.
So but like, here's the thing. They're not the first to like do this at all. So like, I mean, Sir Laurence Olivier, Timothy Dalton, Tom Hardy, all of these guys have like played Heathcliff, and it's just very awkward. And it's like, hey, actually read the book, it's okay. So it's just like a very like weird sort of thing. So it's just like, I don't know what they're planning to do here. I don't know if they're like modern. I don't know if it's the Australian Wuthering Heights, because both of them are Australian. I don't know if that's what they're going for, but I look at this headline and it just feels weird to me. Even as someone who's not read the book, I haven't seen any of the adaptations, and I look at this and I'm like, this does not look or sound right. So I feel like this kind of like the recent Rebecca adaptation with Lily James and everybody's favorite cannibal, Armie Hammer. That was also a very poor adaptation. I was like, so is the I was texting my sister. I'm like, so is this going to be the next Rebecca? She's like, oh, do not fucking get me started on that goddamn movie. Okay. So like, I feel like it's just going to be I feel like it's going to be a very terrible adaptation. And like, it's not just awkward.
It's going to be good. Okay. Well, early signs point that they maybe messed up the casting, but it could be that they're doing a take on this that is going to turn out to be great. Like when they had Margot Robbie cast for Barbie, they were like, that's perfect casting. But, that could have been a terrible film. It worked out to be a great movie. They've had, other, situations where I think when what was that movie with Viola Davis and John Boyega, the Woman King? That one was also one where, people were worried, but it turned out to be a great movie. It's we have all been in situations where we look at the casting news and we're like, this looks terrible, and then it could be it could turn out to be a great film.
Yeah,
It can also go in the other direction, and I'm
I
just
don't
saying,
know.
like, it's too early to tell.
It's
Like
too
maybe
early to
maybe
tell.
they
It's
need to
just like
go
I look at
Supergirl.
this and I just feel I feel, as the kids would say, I feel the ick. So,
Yeah.
it
And I
just
mean, there's
feels weird to me.
the other side of that would be like, for example, when they cast the newest Dune movies, I was like, they whitewashed the entire cast, like, because
Well,
the
the
original
original film, the original book
the book
didn't describe the skin color actually. The
they
the
did
only
it, but like
time they described the
you
skin
know,
color in the original books was like they were like olive toned, and that was like kind of it.
yeah, but as you could clearly tell, there's a heavy Arabic and cultural influence on the entire Dune, to the point, like, like, what do they call him in the second movie? What's the it's all
Modaib,
yeah, exactly. What, say it again?
I believe Modaib, I believe that's what it is.
Something
I'm
Al
go-
Ghaib, right? Like, it's all, these
yeah,
are all Arabic words. Like, it's clearly, and I'm not, I'm just saying they could have cast more actors that were, from the Middle East, and they could be Syrian, they could be, from Iran, from Iraq, or from, even from Yemen or Lebanon, or Egypt, and from Israel or Palestine. Like, it could be that. It just, that was something that bothered me. I'm not saying they whitewashed every character in the movie. You had Zendaya, Javier Bardem, but it just, there's examples of it where it could still work. Is all I'm trying to say. Those movies are great, but the casting is something that not everybody who has read the books was like, this doesn't feel entirely accurate. And of course, it's a step forward than the one from the '80s. But all that said, guys, this is a movie that is going to be coming out hopefully in the next couple of years. Initially, it looks like they got the casting wrong, but maybe the movie will be great, and we'll all forget about the fact that these aren't accurate to the book. But with that said, John, let's talk a little bit more business of Hollywood. So recently, we have been following the story of how Paramount is merging with Skydance, and as part of that,
yes,
what usually happens with mergers and acquisitions, a lot of people get laid off. And of course, Paramount had announced that they were gonna be, doing some budget cuts because they have billions of dollars of debt that they need to service and get rid of. As part of that, it looks like they have dissolved their entire Paramount Plus communications team because the streaming service has been hit hard. Now, the reason why this makes sense is because Paramount Plus as a streaming service is a money-losing operation still, as far as I can tell, and it looks like they're working their way to profitability, but as part of the larger company, Paramount Global, they're not making money with Paramount Plus yet. Netflix only turned profitable a couple of years ago, and Disney Plus only turned profitable this year. The vast majority of the streaming services you watch today still don't make profit. They're still losing money. Peacock is losing billions of dollars. So, yeah, I mean, it's not surprising to me. John, what do you think? Do you think, again, it's never a good thing when people are losing their jobs?
right.
But to me, it feels like this is a necessary step for Paramount as a company to get in the black and stop bleeding money, which is, a lot of it is coming from Paramount Plus. Not all of it, but Paramount Plus is one of those divisions that doesn't quite make as much as they're investing into it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, with like the merger and the streaming services now and all that, yeah, this makes sense. It is saddening because obviously we never, especially in this economy, we never want to see anyone lose their job. That sucks. That's, you know, it's sad, and especially with people like having to work like 15 jobs to make 3 cents for, rent. So that's never a good thing, but it's like, let's hope that maybe like we can like get somewhere in terms of these streaming services. But even then, even though I wouldn't say I'm anti streaming service, I'm just like kind of sick of them at this point, especially when they've become the new cable at this point. So I don't know, like if this can bring Paramount to like a good step forward, then awesome. And if Skydance can really help out, then cool. Um, but yeah, it's saddening, but like let's hope it's we get actual step forwards, and it's not like 15 steps back and like half a step forward. Let's hope it's one step
Yeah.
forward, maybe 1 or 2 steps forward, a step back maybe, but 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's like the best hope, but obviously we'll see in the coming months when this merger is finally, finalized and all that. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. By the way, that was the name, Lisan Al Gaib. Thank you.
Lisan Al Gaib, that was it.
Al Gaib. Yeah,
I
there's a
think
lot of throaty
Muad'Dib was
sounds.
his name, but Lisan Al Gaib is
Maghrib, yeah.
the title he has. I think that's
Right.
what it is.
And yeah, I mean, also Antonio, Baker saying, yeah, this is about characters that are Middle Eastern. Yes, exactly. I think they could have cast. It's my opinion. I don't have to die on that hill, but Manolo saying, my opinion, Sony has the best plan, like War Dogs. They provide the arm. Yeah, exactly. They provide the IP for these streaming wars. This is a good thing about Sony, by the way. Manolo making a really good point that Sony has not started their own streaming service. Sony is like, you guys can pay us and license our content. We're gonna make great fucking TV shows like For All Mankind, and then Apple and whoever else, you pay us.
I mean, we'll make garbage Spider-Man spin-offs that make no sense, and we'll like completely fuck over animators on the Spider-Verse movies with a third movie that's not going to come out in the near future, even though we ended the last one on a cliffhanger. But For All Mankind, I guess, exists.
Hey, you know what? I'll take that trade. For All Mankind has to exist. That is one of my favorite shows on TV today. If you guys are not watching For All Mankind, get on that. And you've got 4 seasons already and a 5th one on the way, and they've already said they're gonna go to 8 seasons. They've already given a couple more. It's great. I love it. It's a great sci-fi show.
Like you're going from alternate history to now just like you're making The Expanse at this point. Like what the fuck? How many more decades can you possibly?
I mean, there's also the Expanse. There's supposedly a future Expanse sequel series that might be coming our way too. Josh with the sarcasm. At least we have Venom 3 starts crying. I'm like.
We have Venom 3 and we have Kraven the Hunter, who has super special lion powers because lion blood went into his open wound, because that totally is how that works. Anyway, yeah.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Paramount, yes, they should be having a live action G.I. Joe series. I don't know what they're doing with that. They're still trying to figure out the teaser for that G.I. Joe and Transformers crossover, what that's gonna become.
Yeah, with fucking Michael Kelly.
Yeah, Lorenzo Di Bonaventura, the producer, was like, "Oh, we're trying to figure out how to make this happen." But yeah. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they are working on more stuff for that, and a Transformers movie, they do have at least one more on the horizon. With that said, guys, that is the news for the day. We gotta dive into our next topic, which is the Transformers 1 review. Now, Transformers 1 is the first animated Transformer movie since the 80s, and a lot of people are saying it's the best one that you're ever going to see. It's the best Transformers movie, period. And that's a high bar because the Bumblebee movie was pretty darn good. I really enjoyed the first Transformers movie. I know, John, you're a fan of the 80s one. I'm not so much. But I mean,
I've never seen the 80s one.
I'm a fan of the... Yeah, well, there you go. Well, that's why you don't like... By the way, they killed off all the main characters in halfway through the movie. So all the kids were like, whoa. Like Optimus Prime, like all of them gone, and they introduced new characters. So you can go buy new
look, you can buy these toys, kids. Like that's literally the only fucking reason.
Yeah. But the point is, Transformers 1 is getting some of the best reviews any Transformer movie has ever gotten. It's doing relatively well at the box office. We wanted to take a look at it and review it. John, you went and saw it. So
I did.
Let's dive into that next in Dolby. So let's take a look at this, and on the other side, we're gonna review Transformers 1, and then after that, we're gonna talk about the Supergirl news, guys. That's what you all are here for, and we're gonna get into that. But before that, let's get into Transformers 1.
We could have built the future together.
I don't think so.
This is actually a great movie that the whole family can enjoy.
You need to move out of my way before I move you myself.
All right, Transformers 1. That was a great introduction. Thank you to Catriona, our editor, who does a fantastic job with these. Props to her for making these movies look even better than sometimes they are. But Transformers 1 looks like it is worth the film that is printed on, John. So
Mhm.
let me start by asking you, when you went to see this movie in a theater, what were your expectations? And then do you feel like walking away from the movie, those expectations were met?
So when I saw the first trailers, I'm like, okay, this looks pretty good. And then like literally my entire friend group was like, this is the new cancer. And I'm like, oh, okay, never mind then. So I was just like, all right, I guess I'll just keep that to myself. And so I was like, I wouldn't say I was excited, but I'm like, okay, this looks like it could be a fun time. But when I got out of the theater, I'm like, that was pretty fucking awesome. Not gonna lie. That was really it's one of those cases where it's like it's not like the most amazing thing ever, but I really liked the vibes it gives off. I really like a lot. Okay, so here's the thing. It does have some flaws. I would say it's still not the best Transformers. I would say Bumblebee is the best one still by far. At least from the okay, so I've seen Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, Bumblebee, and Rise of the Beasts. So I would say it's probably the second best, I would say. That's not saying much. Um, but Bumblebee is the best, then this, then it's like a slightly better than Rise of the Beast. Rise of the Beast has some like flaws, and the Beast War characters were kind of shoved to the side a little bit, but it was overall a good movie. It's way fucking better than Michael Bay's Transformers. Like the first one, it's a fun time. It's a fun guilty pleasure movie. Or then Revenge of the Fallen is just one of the biggest piles of shit I've ever fucking seen in my life. And then I gave up. And then I heard Bumblebee was good, so I'm like, okay, let me watch this, and it was good. I've seen like a couple of clips of the animated movie from the 80s, and that was like kind of fun, but it was literally just an excuse to fucking introduce new toys, and that was it. It was literally just like, okay, we're gonna introduce a whole line, a new line of action figures. All right, I guess we have to murder every other fucking Transformer instead of just like, I don't know, introducing these fuckers. But anyway, that's like a whole nother can of worms, I guess. But yeah, I thought Transformers 1 was overall a really fun time. It's definitely flawed. It's definitely, I would say it's like a solid like 7.5 out of 10. Like it's not perfect. It's not it's not gonna be like the greatest movie of the, although it's not the summer anymore, but it's not gonna be like the greatest thing ever, but I really enjoyed it. Um, I would say the best things about this movie, I really liked the animation. I like how it's like metallic, like it looks like metal Transformers, but
Yeah,
at the same time, it looks like
it vis
very toyetic.
it
Like it's
feels very
very
tangible, like the Lego
yeah,
movies, like
yeah.
I
Like
yeah.
it felt like toys brought to life kind of thing. And I was like,
Yeah.
when they go to the surface, the animation was fucking beautiful. It was very cool, very textured, very nice. And I liked the like overall vibe it gives off. Very very great animation. I really liked most of the voice. Okay, so most of the voice acting was fine. So except you could fucking see the fucking Sentinel Prime twist from like the first
I will
5 minutes
say,
of the movie, but sure.
yeah, I
Um,
saw that one coming, yeah, even the first
yeah,
time I was
like,
like,
and
"That's"
I'll get
yeah,
to that soon enough. So
yeah.
the voice acting for the most part's good. Okay, here's the thing. I'm just gonna say this. I don't like Chris Hemsworth. I don't think he's funny. I don't think he's that great of an actor. And pretty much outside of Thor, he's given us like nothing of like note. And even then, most of the Thor movies kind of suck. So outside of the first one, so like I don't like Chris Hemsworth that much. He's the worst Chris. I think that's fair to say. So
Yeah.
so when I heard that he was voicing Optimus Prime, I'm like, all right, I don't like this, but we'll see. And I will say he was fine in this. He was good. Dare say good. Now, I know he's not Peter Cullen. Nobody is going to be Peter Cullen. Peter Cullen is the fucking goat of like voice acting. Like he's like top fucking tier. That man has like that voice was blessed by the gods themselves. Like that
Mhm.
like so I feel like it's a bit unfair to compare Chris Hemsworth to Peter Cullen. It's like comparing Chris Hemsworth to Peter Cullen is like comparing an insect to God himself. Like it's just not fair. It's like not
It's
even like the
yeah,
same like
yeah.
anything. So if
Mhm.
you ignore the fact that Peter Cullen is like one of humanity's greatest gifts. I think you'll enjoy his Optimus Prime. And what I liked about it is he doesn't try to copy Peter Cullen, and he does his own thing. Towards the end, when he's like getting into more of the character, he like kind of goes for more of that deeper, like authoritarian like vibe that Peter Cullen's Optimus Prime gives off, but he's still not uh copying, he's still not like copying him, and I really appreciate that. Brian Tyree Henry, that dude is fucking awesome. That dude is
He's so
one hell of an
underrated.
actor. So underrated.
Very,
I forget what movie he was in, but
Bullet Train.
Bullet
Eternal.
Train, yeah, he was really great in Bullet Train.
Yeah.
Cape something. Causeway. My buddy saw Causeway, and he said he was excellent. I think he was nominated for that actually. And so he's great. The only thing is like kind of weird is like that's not the voice I envisioned for Megatron, but like he was still really good. Most of the other voice actors, I thought John Hamm was okay as Sentinel Prime. Lawrence Fishburne was awesome. Steve Buscemi as Starscream, perfect fucking casting. Like I want to see a sequel just so I can get more Steve Buscemi as Starscream. That is fucking goated casting right there. However, I would say the only two that were not good is that Keegan-Michael Key as Bumblebee, he was pretty terrible. Like I will say I like Keegan-Michael Key. He's so funny. Like him, Key and Peele, obviously excellent. And he's been in a lot of other great stuff, a lot of other great movies and shows where he shows off his talent.
He was in that really bad Predator movie.
Yeah. Your mom's pussy is rated E for everyone, or like whatever the fuck that was. So like I blame more so the writing than him himself. Like he tried his best to make it work, and he just couldn't. So I thought he tried, but overall the writing let him down. And honestly, I didn't like Scarlett Johansson. I forget what her character name was. Alita.
She's the one on the
Alita
front,
Battle Droid. That's what I called her. Alita Battle Droid. But she was so wooden and so bored in this movie. Like she was like, I'm better than you. Yeah, but the thing is, what you have is hope. So you need to give them hope. It's like, bro, can you like not sleep in between fucking Marvel movies and give us a goddamn performance, please? That would be great. Anyway, so most of the voice acting is actually surprisingly good. It's just, it's just Keegan-Michael Key and Scarlett Johansson were a bit of a letdown. And then some story beats were really fun, like when they go to the surface and they're kind of discovering stuff. I'm like, okay, this is really cool. This is really interesting. And like the beginning of like the scene where like, he's taking the what happened to the Matrix kind of thing. Or that they have to say the Matrix of leadership so Warner Brothers doesn't sue them. And so there's that. So that, various scenes here and there were really cool. The action was fucking awesome. Like that was like great. The action was really fucking cool. And the entire third act was badass. That was fucking awesome as fuck. That was like the scene that I'm just gonna say rips off Lion King because it totally does. And like when you see Optimus, like Orion Pax becoming Optimus Prime with the music, the animation, I was getting chills. That was fucking like that was like the best scene in the whole movie. That was so I'm like, this is a kids movie. God damn, like guys, calm down. But it was fucking awesome. Some jokes were good. Like I remember one of the few times Keegan-Michael Key actually made me laugh. When Orion and D16 go down to like the sub level 50 or whatever, and like Bumblebee is introducing them, or B127 is introducing them to like his like fake like scrap robots or whatever. He's like, this is Steve, this is Tron. I'm like, I see what you did there. I love it. I appreciate it.
Tron, yeah,
Tron. And then another time that made me laugh, the one time Scarlett Johansson made me laugh was I forget what they were talking about. Like I think they were talking about like mining, and Orion was like, "Oh yeah, I got the power to make this work. Like I got a certain touch." And then Scarlett Johansson, Alita, is like, you don't have the touch or the power. I'm like, I see what you did there. I really appreciate it. But yeah, those I will say those were like the two jokes that like made me laugh, and like a couple other things like made me laugh. But I will say most of the humor did kind of suck. But I will say it was enjoyable. Like this was one of those movies that like made me feel like a kid again. Like it was so fun, it was so enjoyable, but it's not like bad, like offensive or anything. It's just an enjoyable time. It was a really good, well-paced movie. I feel like most kids will like I would say it's like I think it's like an hour 50, but it doesn't
It's
feel
not very
like it.
long. It's digestible.
I mean,
Yeah.
comparatively to other kids' movie, I would say it's like in between. It's not like the 2-hour mark, which is like adult movies, and then like 90 minutes for most kids' movies. It's like right in that sweet spot, but it doesn't feel like it. And I feel like it's very well paced, and the music was also really, really good, especially in the third act where it's like the big bombastic like transformation scene. That was really cool. But yeah, all of that was really awesome. But yeah, I felt that like B-127 was just way too annoying, and Scarlett Johansson was just so bored. And then I fucking hated like the thing. Okay, I'm just gonna say this. I hate what Thanos did for villains. I fucking hate what Thanos did. I call it Thanos syndrome at this point. Where essentially they make the villain actually have a point and they make them sympathetic, because that's essentially what they did for Megatron. It's like, we should kill Sentinel for what he did for lying to us and all this other stuff. I'm like, yeah, no, the fucker should die. But the thing is, Megatron is the villain. He shouldn't be fucking saying those things. He's the bad guy. You're supposed to root against him, not for him. That's the whole point of a villain, an antagonist. Like, a villain is supposed to be evil, bad guy. You're not supposed to like him. So fuck you, Russo brothers, and fuck you, Marvel, for doing that, because now everybody since Thanos, you have to make a sympathetic villain. You have to make a villain that you like, who has a point, and all this other bullshit. It's like, no, fucking stop. I'm sick. I want my villains to just like shoot a puppy in the head for no fucking reason. That's the villain I want to fucking see. All right. You know, like General Zod in like Superman 2, where he's just like, I'm evil and I want to take over the world. Why? Because I can. You know what? That might be seen as one-dimensional. I just see that as fucking awesome. I'm sick of this whole fucking Thanos syndrome bullshit. Just make villains villains again. All right? That's what I fucking want. Jesus Christ. I'm sick of that shit. Sick of that shit. And the tropes and the cliches and the predictability. You could see the Sentinel twist from a fucking mile away. Oh, you have the friends who are going to become bitter rivals later on. You have the guy who's like this clear-cut, amazing leader who does all the amazing things. And it turns out he's the bad guy, or there's some massive conspiracy that they need to unfold. And then you have like this magic MacGuffin that they need constantly, but they can't get because of the said conspiracy. And then you have this other bad guy. It's just like, all right. Can we stop? I understand this is a kid's movie, but like, okay, Iron Giant did need to rely on this fucking shit, all right? And that's like the GOAT of fucking animated movies. So like, just try a little bit harder in the writing department. That's all I want, you know? So overall, it's a fun movie. Like, I really enjoyed it. It does unfortunately suffer from some bad comedy, some really cringy humor, some off-kilter voice acting, predictability, a lot of annoying tropes and cliches, and fucking Thanos. And I'm so sick of Thanos syndrome. I cannot tell you how fucking sick of it I am.
I just have one question.
Sure.
I have one question. So, when they transform into Transformers, do you get the sound effects from like the movies that chink quick quack? Yeah, like, are we getting those sounds?
I didn't hear that actually. I don't think I didn't.
Yeah, like,
I don't think I heard that.
Part, dude. Like those sound mix. We were talking about sound mixing earlier. The live action Michael Bay Transformers movies have some of the best sound mixes that any movie franchise has ever done. Like, you want to demo a good sound system, you put on a Transformers movie that Michael Bay directed, because it's so
I would say The Rock, because that's his best movie by far. Like, The Rock is just fucking awesome. Like, that's like genuinely, that is like peak Michael Bay right there. That is like awesome action. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it is. Josh still getting you for the Tom King stuff. All right, well, John, we do have to. I think Fiona might be falling asleep on us in the chat there, but we do have to get on to DCU Daily because a lot of you guys are here for DCU Daily. So, but before we do, if you did watch Transformers, if you did watch Transformers 1, if you haven't seen it, let us know if this review made you more excited for it or less excited for it. If you did, then drop your comments down below. Let us know what you thought about the movie. Or get in the live chat like you have been. The Watcher, Josh, everybody in the chat, Manola, Borkatna, of course we got Fiona, everybody in the chat. We appreciate all you guys. RayJ365. Let us know what you thought about it. And if you haven't already, hit that like button because we are only just getting started on this show. And hit that subscribe if you have not, because that way you know when we have new shows and the notification bell turned on, you'll know when we are going live. We do DCU Daily 5 days a week. And of course, speaking of DCU Daily, that is exactly what we're here to do. So welcome to another episode of DCU Daily here on Also Curious. So we're going to talk about the new Supergirl film, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. The script has been written by Ana Nogueira. We know that we got Millie Alcock, of course, in the lead role of Supergirl. You've got a director who I'm forgetting the name of right now. John can correct me or give me that information. But we now know Craig Gillespie, of course. We now know that Matthias Schoenaerts, I believe. Somebody correct me if I have totally butchered his name. But Matthias Schoenaerts is going to be the villain of this new Supergirl film. Supergirl, which is set to come out in July of 2026, John. What are your thoughts on this casting? Your initial reactions? Were you like, whoa, who is this dude? Or were you like, oh my God, I can't wait for this guy to be in this film? What are your thoughts on this casting?
I know him from like a couple of movies. Like he was in this like he was in The Loft, which was a remake of a like Belgian film, I think it was. Okay, so yes, so it's a Dutch language Belgian film, Loft, which I think was remade into another language film. There was a Dutch remake, and then there was the American remake, and then there was also a Hindi remake. But anyway, so the one I'm talking about is a 2014 movie. It has like Carl Urban and Eric Stone Street and James Marsden, Wentworth Miller. So Matthias, I'm just going to call him Matthias Schoenaerts because like I'm not going to bother fucking pronouncing his name. So Matthias Schoenaerts, he was in the original Belgian film, and then he played the same role in the American remake. So that's, I think, all I know him from. I haven't seen either of these movies. I just know him from that. I think he's been in a couple other movies. Like it's mostly like early stuff. I think, yeah, I'm just kind of quickly going through. I saw him in The Drop. Like that was, that's the only other thing I've seen him in, and I don't remember him in that movie, so I can't really say anything. He's definitely has the vibe of a villain, like his look, and like, foreign guys already make, good villains, I guess. But I haven't
Foreign
seen
is not American.
I haven't seen many movies with this guy. I haven't read the book. I haven't read the comic book, so I don't know how accurate it is
John,
to who he's playing, or if he is playing. I don't know. I think he'll do a good job.
Yeah. If you look at the article here from Deadline, they broke this news. It was they also told us initially that this movie was getting greenlit, so they've been ahead of the game on this movie the whole time. And so Deadline reported that, hey, we can tell you that Rust and Bone actor Matthias Schoenaerts, which if any of you guys know that I'm pronouncing this wrong, let me know in the chat if I'm getting his name right. But Matthias Schoenaerts has landed the villain role in Warner Brothers / DC's Supergirl. Now, we don't have anything in this article indicating who that character is going to be, who he's actually playing. We do have a theory for that. We're going to get into it, of course. They talk about that Supergirl is based on Tom King's 2022 book series, and of course, goes by the name of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, the same name as the movie itself. And of course, the Bill Keys Evely illustrated some of the wonderful artwork that we all know that comic for. I literally have it behind me. I'll see if I can grab it. But Ana Nogueira was hired to write the script. The script was greenlit. and now it's coming to the big screen. And in the comic, speaking of the villain, the bad guy is Creme of the Yellow Hill. Quite the name there, Creme of the Yellow Hill, who kills the young girl, I mean Supergirl's father. So, that basically sets off Supergirl, rightfully so, in almost like this revenge storyline. We know that this version of Supergirl is more vulnerable, has a more of an edge to it. It's not quite the wholesome character that Clark Kent is.
Right.
So, John, do you think that Matthias here is going to play Creme of the Yellow Hill in this movie?
I don't know who that fucking character is, so maybe not. Also, I looked it up, and I think it's Schoenaerts is how you pronounce it. So Matthias Schoenaerts is, I think that's
Matthias Schoenaerts. Okay.
So I think that's how, I think I'm getting that right. I just was like a quick video, like Schoenaerts, like whatever. It's like Dutch, Belgian, whatever the fuck it is. Like, is Belgium even real? Is Netherlands even real? Like, come on, I've never been there. Like, it's a grand conspiracy. Anyway, so like, I mean, he looks kind of like the villain. Yeah. I mean, okay, so clearly Supergirl is, she's going John Wick on his ass. So, that's definitely interesting. I mean, I think he'll be fine as this guy. I don't know. He's not like, Brainiac or anything, but like cool, I guess. Good luck, guy.
Yeah, he's got the look. He's got the acting chops. I look forward to seeing what he does with this.
I assume she has a sword is because it's like under a red sun or anything, right? Because like that's the only reason why she should have a sword, to protect herself, because she's under a red sun. If she's under a yellow sun or a blue sun, sure, but like if she's under a like yellow blue sun, like she wouldn't need a sword. If she's under a red sun, it makes sense, but outside of that, doesn't make sense.
But John,
have a sword anyway.
It does raise a good question, and I think Noel in the chat is asking this because
Yes.
I was thinking about it too. I'm like, now that we know that Matthias is in this movie playing potentially, Creme, do you think this means Lobo is no longer gonna be in the movie, or was he ever gonna be in the movie? Do you think this means
I don't
Lobo
think he was ever gonna be in the movie, but I just think like people like, if he did show up, this would have been a good place to introduce him. I don't think that was ever official or anything. I just think fans were like, okay, if you want Lobo, because they heard like Jason Momoa was like in talks, which is all like most of the time BS, even though that was not the case. So I think people were just saw that, they're like, oh, maybe, and they're like, well, if he is introduced, Supergirl makes sense because it's a cosmic movie. So, yeah, I think that was never the case, but fans were like, if he does show up, it would make sense here. And he could still show up. Like, he could show up in, like, a really small, like, cameo or something, or even just a smaller villain in the film. So,
yeah,
whatever that case may be, he could still show up, but not just as the main villain, which, I would still love to see Lobo. I would still love to see Jason Momoa as Lobo. Maybe in this, maybe in a future film, whatever that may be, that would be awesome. But I'm not like terribly excited for this. Like, I want Supergirl to I just want Supergirl to get a good movie. I just want her to get something good. Like, she's such a great and almost underrated character in a way. So I feel like she just deserves it at this point. Like, she got a shit movie in the 80s. She got a shitty TV show. And while she was good in The Flash, it was still a shitty fucking movie. So, like, every live action portrayal of this character, I feel, maybe outside of Smallville, I haven't watched it, so I don't know. Maybe she's great there. I've heard Laura Vandervoort is, yeah, Lobo could be in Lanterns as well. But it's just like, I want this character to be done well. Like, that's all I want. Like, I just want this character to, finally get like a good big screen adventure. And because I want people to see that she's not just female Superman. That's not what she is. She's a very different character, just like remembering Krypton, remembering, what Clark can never remember, and like feeding that into her personality. I just think that's innately interesting, and I would love for them to explore that here. I would love like a good cosmic adventure. I mean, the director hasn't done anything like in terms of like a big like blockbuster. Yeah, he's done some good movies in the past, but the closest thing in terms of a blockbuster was like Cruella, and that's not a great
They are making a sequel.
reference. So I just
Definitely-
I just hope it's good. Like I just want it to be good. I don't know Anna Neguera. I've seen one or two Craig Gillespie movies that weren't all that great, but I haven't seen the so I know nothing about this fucking kid. Like I don't know any. I actually don't think I've ever seen anything of the director. I know the director, but I don't think I've seen anything of his specifically. I've seen The Finest Hours, and that sucked. I saw Fright Night, and that was pretty good, but doesn't hold a candle to the original. So I know a little bit about him. I know nothing about the writer. Nobody knows anything about the writer because she's only done one play. So
Yeah.
like, you
It's
know,
she's been
and
known to a
then I
lot of
haven't seen House of the Dragon, so I don't know
Yeah.
Millie Alcock. So
Well, Millie Alcock, I think, would be a great Supergirl. She can really grow into the
trust
role
her.
over the years. And as far as the idea of like one of you guys, Casey, were talking about, maybe Lobo could be in the Lantern show. And like he could be a great addition as a cameo. He can kind of make these little cameos. Maybe he's not the main villain. But yeah, I mean, it would make sense that they have a villain like Krem of the Yellow Hill, where you kind of want to give Supergirl a character to start off with, but maybe not. Don't put her up against like a super iconic villain straight away. You let this franchise sort of build up, like and you let the first movie sort of lay the groundwork for a bigger battle down the road. Even if Lobo was in the movie, he could be kind of like how what's the name of the character that Yahya Abdul-Mateen played? Why am I forgetting his name in the first
Black
Aquaman movie?
Manta.
Black Manta. It's sort of like Black Manta was in the first Aquaman movie, but he wasn't the main villain, right? It was Norm was the main villain, and then the second movie sort of becomes more about Aquaman versus Black Manta. So maybe that's what we're doing here. I mean, Matthias has, like I said, the resume and the ability to sort of be a villain. Like recently, he was in a series on HBO. Speaking of which, he starred opposite Kate Winslet in The Regime, and so he can clearly play that antagonistic force and do it well. He's an Emmy-winning actor in his own right, and of course, we know that Supergirl is going to start filming in January in the UK, and they're releasing it in June of 2026. So I was earlier saying July, but it's actually June. It's towards the end of June in 2026. So they need to get going on this soon. They only have months here to figure out, like, what this guy's, costume is going to look like, do some table reads, and really just get rolling with this film. And Matthias,
or they knew this from the beginning and they only let us know now, and they've already been like prepping everything and they're just letting us know now. That could also be the case. I feel like that's kind of a James Gunn thing to do. Like in terms of like having a handle on this universe. Like I bet you like they have a director and writer for The Authority. They have writers and all the scripts done for Waller. They have like so much shit done, but we just don't know anything. That's what I think it is, because like I feel like we're getting so many components. Like they have so many components, but like he wants to drip drop stuff so that we don't. It's they don't blow their load like so like easily and quickly. So they're going to give us like little, like bit by bit, but they have tons of stuff and they're already getting ready. So
yeah,
that's the thing I think.
I think that's fair. Now, with that in mind, Noel was asking earlier, do you think we're going to get a new slate reveal at some point this year, or are we going to wait till
Unlikely.
next year?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Because James Gunn is at Comic-Con in New York in less than a month now. On October 19th, he's going to be at New York Comic-Con talking about Creature Commandos. Do you feel like we're going to get a slate reveal then, or maybe some hint at what's to come beyond what we already
so. I think like I still have my theory that they'll like maybe announce Jon Stewart. I know a lot of people made the case against that, but like that's still like I still have like my theory that's like we got Kyle Chandler. it makes sense that you're at New York Comic Con and you haven't announced your thing for the next your next big show that's filming right now. So that's going to film in January. So I feel like that's just the perfect way to do it. Or he's just gonna be like, this is who we have as Jon Stewart after. Like he'll post it on threads. Like it's just like the people are gonna expect something at the Creature Commandos panel, and we don't get anything except for Creature Commando stuff. And then after it's done, he's like, okay, Aaron Pierre is fucking Jon Stewart, guys. Peace out. And then like he just reveals that on threads. And then like boom, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm excited. I look at this character and I'm like, there's potential here, right? Like you look at, I'm jumping ahead to one of the topics we're going to do later, but this could be a great, or like not origin story, but great first Supergirl story in the new universe. Like a character who intrinsically is tied into what makes, Kara Danvers tick. And, that is, of course, the trauma of losing her father, if you go by the book, the comic book itself talked about. And, if Krem was indeed the person to, kill Supergirl's father, that would be a good revenge tale, which again, it's sort of similar to the Batman with Robert Pattinson and how the first movie was about him seeking revenge and then realizing that maybe getting that revenge isn't gonna help, the pain that he's feeling. Like it's more he's better off trying to inspire hope with the power that he has as the masked vigilante rather than just trying to get his revenge. It's sort of the same arc that the Christopher Nolan iteration of the Batman took in Batman Begins, like, in a different, like similar, yet the way they go about it is different. Maybe Supergirl can have, in this darker version, this edgier version of Supergirl can have a similar, starts out looking for revenge, then realizes that maybe that's not the best way for her to go about life. It's a pretty hollow.
Or they just say fuck that and she just gets her revenge and fucking kills him. That would be awesome. Because I'm sick of this, like, they need to find hope thing. It's like we've gotten that with Batman in the last 4 iterations. It's like, let's do something different, please. Let's just somebody get their revenge. Fuck it. Like just go full Punisher on them. Screw it. Screw it.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, I mean, we're gonna get the Punisher in that Daredevil show, but anyway, I digress. Look, guys, the news is that Matthias Schoenaerts, is that how you pronounce it, John?
Schoenaerts, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, so it's like a throaty sound.
Yeah.
He's going to be playing the villain in the new DC Supergirl movie, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, coming out on June 26, 2026, going into production in January of next year. So they're looking to finish casting out, the movie, and the villain of the movie is a pretty significant part of the picture. So now that they have him, hopefully we can move on to the next step. You'll hopefully start to get more news from this film. They're probably already building the sets. I want to see what the costume for Supergirl is going to look like. Let us know in the comments, guys, what you think. Rust and Bone is where Matthias is most known from in recent times. He's worked on other TV shows. It's another one of those, I feel like, underrated castings like Kyle Chandler was for Hal Jordan, where you're bringing in an actor who's gonna probably give an iconic performance, but we just don't know it yet. So let us know in the comments what you think. Let us know in the live chat. We are far from done on the show, but please hit that like button if you haven't already, because now, John, we're going to dive into something a little bit different because we have to talk about, the topic that we like to touch upon once a week. We do DC Daily 5 days a week, but what we like to do once a week is MCU Weekly. So let's talk about let's talk about this trailer that came out. This trailer came out a day ago now. But I've been reeling since because I have had mixed feelings about the idea of this Thunderbolts movie existing. When they first announced it, I really liked the cast of characters they cast in there because I was like, I loved David Harbour as Red Guardian. I would love to see more of him. But then at the same time, I was like, how much more story can you get out of the Winter Soldier character, right? Like Bucky Barnes' story has been told inside out, upside down, left and right, backwards and forwards at this point in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What more can you do with this character? Yelena Belova's character started out strong, but then her last couple of appearances have been underwhelming, whether it was Hawkeye or, showing up in post-credit scenes or one of the TV shows. It just felt like they could do a lot more with their character. Now, though, on the other hand, John, you watch this trailer. Now, of course, the graphic down there says one thing, which is, oh, what are we, some kind of Thunderbolts? Like, that was one of the comments in the trailer that I saw, but But at the same time, I look at it and I'm like, okay, Yelena Belova finally seems like she's got a movie of her own. Even though this is Thunderbolts, it seems like she's the Nick Fury of this team, assembling the team together. She's assembling the Thunderbolts. And also, so far with this trailer, it doesn't give you any indication as to whether this is one of those situations where Harrison Ford's, Thunderbolt, like it's Thunderbolt Ross is going to put these team together. It looks like they're just being put together by like the shady organization or the CIA, I guess, which is Louis Dreyfus's character is putting together. So
Valentina Fontaine, Lay Allegra, whatever the hell it is.
She was in the last Black Panther movie. Do you feel like this movie is going to have a leg to stand on where it can really distinguish itself from, the average MCU schlock that we're getting these days, or do you feel like this movie is just going to blend in to the messy phase 4 and 5 that we have gone so far?
The latter. Thing is, I gave up on Marvel a while back. I couldn't give less of a shit about anything coming out, with the exception of Spider-Man 4. I have hopes that they're actually gonna, take advantage of like the fact that he's a grounded character again. He's not gonna rely on fucking, Doctor Strange and be like Iron Man Jr. and all that shit. Like that's the thing I hope for, and that's the only thing I'm paying attention to. And I'm interested in that animated series, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, whenever the fuck that's coming out, because that got announced like fucking like 6 years ago now, and now they're not getting it. Now we haven't been getting it, kind of like Blade. So I want that, and that's the only I only care about Spider-Man. I might see Fantastic Four if it gets good reviews, because it's just like I kind of hope that I just want like a Fantastic Four movie to be good. Like they deserve it at this point. And if it sucks, I could just go back to The Incredibles, because that's Fantastic Four done right. But yeah, I don't really care about this. Like Yelena Belova I didn't like her in Black Widow. I felt like she was just so like bland and boring. And like I like Florence Pugh. She's great, but like I just didn't care. Red Guardian was kind of funny, but like nothing great. Ghost is who gives a fuck about Ghost? She was in like one of the worst Marvel movies. So like,
get fleshed out. Like I want to see that character get fleshed out in a way that we haven't seen.
And then Bucky, I don't care. Like sure, Sentry, which is like kind of cool. Like
Sentry, sorry, I mixed up my super characters. What about Sentry? Yeah, he's Bob. Remember Bob from Top Gun Maverick? Bob's back. You're like, who are you? I'm Bob. And like everybody in the social media is like, oh, great. He's Bob in every cinematic universe. So I'm like, I'm excited for that.
He secretly played Bob in Beetlejuice too. Anyway,
his middle name was Bob. He's like, you should use your middle name, Bob. I like it. Kind of like the whole Robins anyway.
Yeah, so like I just don't care about any of these characters. I don't care about like this movie. I'm not gonna watch it. Like I haven't watched a single Marvel thing with the exception of Guardians 3 since Thor Shit and Blunder. Then you have the the living straw man character who's supposed to be like the worst thing ever, but is in actuality like the most like relatable and sympathetic character from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But that's beside the point. So yeah, it's just
right.
Yeah, John Walker. But yeah, it's just like I don't care. Like this because this is what happens. Like DC announces something and then Marvel fucking I know this has been like them for decades. Like ever since like Namor was introduced, fucking DC ripped it off and made Aquaman, and like like they've done like they made DC made Green Arrow, Hawkeye is just Green Arrow, and then like they've done this for like they've like Squadron Supreme is just Marvel's Justice League and like all this other shit. So like,
well, it goes both ways.
It goes both ways. I'm not saying it's like one over the other, but it's just like I feel like every time like DC like announces something big, it's like Marvel comes in. Well, we're doing it now. Like how DC, we're doing Batman versus Superman, and then Marvel's like, well, we're doing Civil War, and then like DC, we're doing New Gods, which never happened. Well, we're doing Eternals, and then it's like, and then like we're doing Suicide Squad. Well, we're doing the Thunderbolts. It's like, how about just make these things that you want to make because you want to make them, not just because it's like, oh, let's just copy whatever DC's doing, which is like a weird thing to do anyway. Because it's like DC has been failing for the past like fucking 15 years, so I don't know why copy them. But honestly, honestly, like, I'm just gonna go back and rewatch Ultra Sergeant's fan made trailer about the Thunderbolts because that looks way better than this trash anyway. So like, yeah, I don't care about any of these characters. They all suck. I don't give a fuck. I wasn't gonna watch it beforehand, and I'm definitely not gonna watch it now. Nothing will. I'm probably never gonna watch another Marvel thing outside of Spider-Man stuff, like until like the MCU gets like blown up. But and also AI generated. I don't think Lewis Pullman has 6 fingers, by the way. Very interesting.
That is interesting. He does have 6 fingers in the picture. I just noticed for the first time that he has, 1 thumb and 5. That's not what my hand looks like. Okay.
Yeah, he has like 5 digits and a thumb. It's like, guys, really, are you really that fucking lazy that you can't make a regular poster? You just, and also, I love how this is ripping off This Is the End. Good times. Anyway, this poster. So it's just like Thunderbolts. It looks suckish. I don't care. I haven't cared about Marvel in a while. I'm done with them outside of Spider-Man. I don't care. And this looks just like shitty Suicide Squad, which was already not great to begin with.
It's interesting how a lot of these characters are basically super soldiers, right? Like you've got the Winter Soldier's a super soldier serum generate, like that is how he got his powers. The serum. What's his name? Something Walker? Why did it just
John Walker?
John Walker is basically a super soldier without the superhero serum. Then
no, he took it in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Don't you remember?
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot.
I didn't even watch it, and I knew that.
Anyway, Red Guardian was clearly one of the Russian versions of a Captain America. There's also, of course, Sentry is also in this world has a superhero serum that gave him all his powers. It's the poster is my saving grace because everything else about the trailer, I will say, it looks fun. I'm like, they clearly leaned into the David Harbour characters.
It also looks weird because it's like clearly Florence Pugh looks like she's on a green screen or something. Like it doesn't match.
It looks Photoshop. Looks like
it's AI generated, so you know.
Yeah. It's interesting because this also, you look at how anyway, it just some of the it's not the best Photoshop work that they've done, but I am interested in seeing what this movie becomes, because if it is at worst basically kind of like that Will Smith Margot Robbie Suicide Squad, I'm okay going to the theater once or twice to watch it. Like, I just, if it's all it is you go to the movie theater, you have fun with it, that's fine. But if it's not even fun, like if I'm not laughing at least, then that's where I'll have a problem with it. But I did want to ask you, what do you think about the idea that Scarlett Johansson is an executive producer on this movie? We knew for a long time that she was working with Marvel on something, and it looks like this is the one. I mean, that she's involved.
She's not. She's dead. So like Black Widow's dead. So it's like, well, might as well make it her an executive producer, I guess.
Sure. Making up for like the shit show that was the release of Black Widow and how she's really got into a public spat with Disney, and so this is them making up for it by giving her a cut of profits? Or do you think she's actually creatively involved in this in some way?
I think she just wanted a pay grade after what Disney did during lockdown, so that's what she's getting here. Way to go, I guess.
Better than the floating bobbleheads poster, which I think he's talking about the Suicide Squad one, the first one. Floating heads poster. Yeah. Oh, and then Casey saying, I'm never watching anything Marvel again until I take over Spider-Man from Sony. Good luck with that, Casey. Good luck with doing that. But guys, let us know in the comments what you think about the Thunderbolts trailer. We both watched it. I sort of had fun with it, but it really still, I'm cautiously optimistic because Marvel has really been more missed than hits of late, and I really wish they used to be good at what they did. But hopefully they'll get better at it in the future. Let us know in the comments if you think Thunderbolts is going to be a good film and if you're going to enjoy watching it or if you're looking forward to it. Did the trailer move the needle for you? For one of you guys, it definitely did not. I saw the comment earlier. Let me see. Who said that? I think it was My Dream in Orbit. Like, it didn't really move the needle for you. I get it. Totally get it. And that's fine. But hey, we're not done yet. As we like to do before the end of every show, we like to look ahead to the movies that are coming out in the days ahead. And today, John, we have two movies to look forward to. Megalopolis. Let me ask you this. Is this movie going to completely flop on its face? Because so far, it's not been looking pretty. They had to pull a trailer. Francis Ford Coppola couldn't get anybody to distribute it for him in this movie for him in the US, to the point they've paid Lionsgate to distribute the movie. And it just looks like, people are just not.
So
tomato score, it's sitting at 51% from 91 reviews.
Yeah, it's fucking Rotten Tomatoes. They're fucking dumbasses. They give fucking like garbage like the highest scores. All right, so like
51, a slight majority of the people who reviewed it, but liked it so far. That means like out of the 90 reviewers, a little over 45 liked it. The rest of them didn't. There's still technically a slight majority, but I'm worried, man. I'm worried. This movie,
it's just like this is gonna be Francis Ford Coppola on all fucking cylinders. Whatever this is, good or bad, it's gonna be an experience. And you know what? In a landscape of film where nothing is an experience anymore, everything is flat and dull and suckish or a known IP. I mean, just talking about Thunderbolts, this fucking garbage ass crap where they can't even make a fucking poster without the help of, fucking AI. This is something, at the very least, it'll be intriguing. Like, I am intrigued with this. Like, Francis Ford Coppola, personally, I don't like the man, but he is a great director. He's made some of the greatest movies ever made. And this looks weird and zany and intriguing. I am intrigued. It's got a really good cast, and I really like what they're doing here. And I might hate it. I might love it. But I can guarantee it'll be something that will be remembered for a good long while, good or bad. So you know what? I think that's something. And you know what? Fuck it. Roman Empire through a New York lens. Sure, let's fucking go. I'm ready. Let's go, guys. And I'm excited for this. I'm not like, oh my god, it's hype train, but like, you know what? It's something. It's something different. God fucking forbid. So and it will flop hard like every other Lionsgate movie this year. So
poor Lionsgate. They really could use a break.
I don't feel bad for Lionsgate. Fuck them. They made The Crow. They can suck a dick.
Well, guys, let us know in the comments if you think you're gonna go watch Megalopolis. It's. I know, John, you're gonna check it out, regardless of whether it's good or not. It's caught my curiosity. Like, I have a morbid curiosity about this movie, and I might just go check it out. So we'll talk about it next week, and we'll see. Let's see what our experience is. Maybe we'll all be saying what a lot of the distributors were saying. A lot of the studios that were asked to distribute this film, they were like, "We don't know what this is. We don't know how to market this movie." But maybe people will take to it. Maybe it will become a cult classic.
Oh no, this shit's gonna flop. It's gonna flop no matter what. This is going to flop. I can tell you that right now. It's good. It's not gonna make money.
But Francis Ford Coppola, man, he sold off his vineyard to make this movie. So hopefully people will show up and at least support him in whatever way they can. This is not the only movie coming out this week, though. There's also what's being looked at as one of the early contenders for best animated movie of the year, alongside maybe Inside Out 2, The Wild Robot. The Wild Robot, John. How good does this movie look? How good? Literally,
this is looking fucking amazing. Let's fucking go.
We just looked at the Rotten Tomatoes score for Megalopolis. It was 51% on 90 reviews. This has 51 reviews, which is admittedly less than the 90 that Megalopolis had. But off of 51 reviews, it's got a near perfect 98% score, John. It's just night and day. And then also, I've heard nobody say anything bad about this movie so far. Like, not a single person that I ask about it, they're like saying that this movie sucks or this movie is something that you should avoid. No, everybody's like, this is probably one of the best animated movies that have ever been made. That's the kind of praise I'm hearing about this. What do you think about this movie so far in terms of the hype behind it? Do you think this movie will fly under the radar? Or do you think this movie has the potential to make a lot of money at the box office?
I hope it makes a lot of money. I don't think it's gonna make Inside Out 2 money, but I do think it's gonna make it, like, it's definitely like Iron Giant Wally vibes. That's what I'm getting from this trailer. Like when he has the lights and he's like carrying and he's like trying to find like the birds that are stuck on the rock, and like that was legit. That's like legit the opening of the Iron Giant. So you can definitely tell it has those vibes, like a robot, as well as like a robot that's going against its programming, like with Wally. It's like giving the, and then it like has like this kind of like surreal kind of CGI tone to it that is not like typical like CGI animation, which is boring and gross and like the Despicable Me movies or something. This looks like it has like a unique look to it. And when I saw the initial trailer, I was hoping for that it would be mostly non-speaking. Like it would like be like, I don't know, kind of like I can't think of a good example, but like a mostly non-speak movie. So I was surprised that they had a voice cast. So I hope but I do hope for the most part it's just letting the images speak for themselves, and we don't get a lot of, talking in this, because I feel like that would be like also really different, where we're getting like, like a good, like not silent movie, but for the most part, like just letting the imagery like speak for itself and letting the people get enraptured in this world and this characters without the need for dialogue. I think that could be really cool. But even if it does, like, and it is still getting measured, then awesome, great. Like, that's cool. It just like I hoped the vibe I got was like, oh, it's gonna mostly be like very image heavy rather than dialogue heavy. But whatever it is, I'm stoked for it and it looks fucking great. So
Yeah, I can agree with you. The one thing I will say is I'm so glad that the Spider-Verse movies changed the game for how animated movies look like today, because they set a new precedent that now every movie studio wants to emulate the kind of looks and does the more creative rendering formats that you see now, where like it could look like a pastel painting or watercolor, rather than every movie studio trying to emulate that Pixar look, to the point that Pixar is now trying to emulate the look of the Spider-Verse movies in some ways. And it just leads to just more creative, more original looking animated films. Like, even the new Kung Fu Panda movie looked so different than every previous Kung Fu Panda movie, because it's trying to, do that animation style that the new Puss in Boots movie. I want to see the new Shrek movie. They'll probably look closer to these, like, a painting that's animated rather than like the 3D characters like we used to see back in the day. And I'm just really excited to see what this movie's story is going to be like, because that's ultimately what we're going for. You want to see something that is heartwarming, that you walk out of the movie theater with like a new outlook on life, and that's ultimately what movies are all about. They don't take you away from you. They don't make your problems disappear. I've been having a pretty rough day the last 24 hours. But
yeah,
talking about movies is what makes me come alive.
this definitely looks like an inspirational, like tearjerker, but in like a good way, like a good wholesome, like kind of like the closest thing I can think of in terms of a recent example is like Wonka, where it's like it's just like nice. It's nice, and like I want that so hard. Like what I hope Gunn's Superman is as well. Like it's just like it's nice, and you know what? That's okay. Like it's just nice, and I like that, and I love it, and I can't wait for it. And I like Iron Giant is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I know like people are gonna say, "Oh, it's just a ripoff," but I'm like, you know what? If you're fucking ripping off Iron Giant, like I'll fucking take it. That again, that's like goated animation right there. So like, I'll take it. Like if it's like it's not like it's like taking inspiration from like the Despicable Me movies or anything like that. If it's fucking Iron Giant. I'll fuck. That's awesome. Like more Brad Bird inspiration. Like that's great. That like even though the Iron Giant came out, oh my god, 25 years ago now. But even then, that's not like in the grander scheme of things. That's not like huge amount of time. But like that's already like just 25 years ago. That's finally like inspiring current filmmakers in some sort of, because it's like the filmmakers can say anything they want. This is Iron Giant coded, most definitely. And like even down to like the look, yeah, sure, they have like bendable arms, but like the eyes and like the overall vibe of the body, like that's very Iron Giant heavy. And so like more of that, please. Even though like Iron Giant was like mismarketed, it was a bomb. It was like, nothing, and then like it just skyrocketed, and like it's now it's just beloved. This is like one of the greatest animated films ever made, one of the greatest movies ever made. I personally think it's the greatest Superman movie that doesn't feature the character of Superman. So it's one of the greatest Superman stories of all time, and even though it had a very tragic inspiration, it still became like so much greater than that, and it became like inspirational in and of itself, like clearly what this is. So like, you know what, I'm super stoked for it. Like even if Megalopolis like sucks hard and I end up hating it, we'll still have this like to cushion the blow a bit. So we'll have that, and I'm happy about that most definitely.
Watching this movie and being like, I've got a new lease on my day, and I can go about and enjoy.
Right.
Like it makes you feel better about the world for a little bit, and that's what movies are there to inspire, to entertain, to educate, to like make us believe that we can be a better versions of ourselves, hopefully. And that's what this movie looks like, The Wild Robot. I am really excited for it. I think if I went to watch Megalopolis, then going to watch the Wild Robot after it would be very much like going to watch Oppenheimer and then going to watch Barbie after it would be like a good comparison to make. And we hope that you guys get to do that. Like, please do go check out both of these movies, because we're going to be reviewing them next week, and we'd love for you to be a part of the conversation. And of course, we are seeing your comments about DCU Daily, and we are going to get into that again tomorrow with another live episode with lots of latest news and breaking stories from the world of DC, whether it's more casting news. Maybe James Gunn has some insight for us. We have to talk about how the Penguin scored over 5 million views for his first episode. We have to look ahead to the next episode. We're going to be talking about Joker Folie à Deux. There's more news from that. There's an early IMAX release for that. We're going to talk about that as well. Superman the Christopher Reeve story, John, you're going to go watch it in a movie theater.
Yeah, I'm going to be seeing that tomorrow. I'm super stoked for that. Although I will be bringing my Kleenex, because I'm definitely going to be crying my fucking eyes out like a baby by the end of that goddamn movie. Most definitely. I say most definitely, but it's like a nice ring to it. So most definitely gonna be crying my eyes out. So can't wait for that. But because sometimes you need a good cry. Sometimes it's good in touch with your emotions. It's cool to cry. It's cool to cry, guys. Don't be afraid to cry.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun week at the movies, and we're gonna be back talking about them next week. But we're also back tomorrow with more DCU Daily, of course, John. I just wanted to do a quick shout out. I've had a pretty rough last 24 hours. Yesterday, when we were doing the live show with John and I got the news that my grandma had passed away, and she lived 7,000 miles away from where I am. I'm in the U.S. She was in Pakistan, which is where I was born. And so, it's been a rough past 24 hours, but it's great that I can kind of come here and we can talk movies, and it makes my day,
build you up a little bit. Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, I'm looking forward to again having a conversation with you guys, with you, John, tomorrow, talking about more DC stuff. And then of course, I'm looking forward to watching The Wild Robot, because I can really use, a movie like that can put a smile on my face. And that's what movies are all about. That's why we love doing this, and we love having you guys on for the ride. Thank you, as always, for stopping by and checking out another episode of Also Curious. We're back next week with more reviews. Angelina will be back on the show. We'll have Bridget on. We're trying to bring in more new people onto this team as well. We're going to probably also look into the movie Wolves with George Clooney and Brad Pitt. But of course, we are here 5 days a week with DCU Daily. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you were enjoying what we're doing here, and hit that notification bell so you know when we go live with our next show. And we'll be back here tomorrow with another episode of DCU Daily. Until then, John, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you next time on Oh So Curious Times DCU Daily.